The stars twinkled like scattered diamonds on black velvet as the human diplomatic vessel approached Nexus Prime, the massive space station that served as headquarters for the Galactic Council. Inside the ship's observation deck, Ambassador John Mercer adjusted his tie and took a deep breath. "Remember the plan," he said quietly to Commander Samantha Reeves, who stood beside him in civilian attire. Her military background was hidden beneath the title of Cultural Attaché on her credentials. "Of course, sir," she replied with a slight smile. "We're just simple, peace-loving humans eager to join the galactic community." The year was 2157, 15 years after humans had shocked themselves by accidentally discovering faster-than-light travel. The galaxy, it turned out, was teeming with intelligent life and organized under a complex political structure called the Galactic Council. 27 spacefaring species had seats at this table, and humans were about to be the 28th. What the Council didn't know, what Mercer and his team had carefully hidden, was humanity's true nature. "Approaching final docking sequence," announced the pilot's voice over the intercom. "Council welcoming party is assembled in Bay 12. Mercer nodded to his team of 15 humans, each selected not just for their expertise but for their ability to present the carefully crafted image of humans as gentle, cooperative beings. They had practiced for months to suppress natural behaviors that might reveal their predatory origins: direct eye contact, tooth-bearing smiles, sudden movements, territorial stances. "Showtime," he said. The airlock doors opened with a soft hiss, revealing a gathering of aliens. They stood in a semicircle, their bodies representing the vast diversity of evolutionary paths in the galaxy. Some had scales, others fur. A few were encased in exoskeletons, and several appeared almost plant-like. At the center stood Zartul, the blue-skinned, four-armed representative from the Aldebaran Confederation, who had been assigned as humanity's guide. "Ambassador Mercer," Zartul said. Raising all four hands in what they had learned was a gesture of peaceful welcome. "The Council extends warmth and cooperation to Earth's children. May your presence add to our collective wisdom." Mercer stepped forward with the practiced, smooth movements they had rehearsed. Nothing jerky, nothing predatory. He kept his hands visible and his smile small, hiding his teeth. "The people of Earth are honored by your welcome," he replied, bowing slightly. "We come with open hands and open minds, eager to learn and contribute." As the human delegation followed Zartul through the sprawling station, Commander Reeves noticed subtle details. The other species gave them wide berth in the corridors. Several larger aliens seemed to purposely display claws, scale patterns, or other natural weapons when passing them. It was like watching animals establish a dominance hierarchy. They were being tested. "Your quarters have been prepared according to Earth specifications," Zartul explained as they entered a section with Earth-standard gravity and atmosphere. "The Council has studied your environmental needs extensively." "How thoughtful," Mercer replied. "We appreciate such consideration." Later, alone in the secure briefing room of their quarters, Reeves shared her observations with Mercer and the senior staff. "They're sizing us up," she said. "The Vraxians deliberately flexed their spine ridges when we passed. The Morton delegation's gill flares are threat displays. They're all establishing dominance without being overtly aggressive." Mercer nodded. "Exactly as we expected. Did you notice how they've classified us?" Dr. Frank Nelson, their xenobiologist, chuckled. "Oh yes, they've put us in the protected species category. Based on their environmental settings and the nutrient options they've provided, they think we're primarily herbivores with limited defensive capabilities." Reeves raised an eyebrow. "That's quite a misread." "It's perfect," Mercer said. "Admiral, Carter's report came in while we were in transit. Earth's defense fleet is positioned exactly as planned, disguised as research vessels. As long as we maintain this facade, we'll have time to learn everything we need about the galactic power structure while being underestimated." A soft chime interrupted them. "Ambassador," came a voice over the intercom. "Counselor Zartul requests your presence for the preliminary orientation session." "Back to work," Mercer said, smoothing his expression into one of gentle curiosity. The council chamber was vast, a huge amphitheater with representatives from all member species. The human delegation was led to seats near the bottom, typically reserved for new or less influential members. As Mercer sat listening to the council proceedings, he observed every interaction, every power play. The Vexnar delegation, insectoid beings with gleaming carapaces, seemed particularly interested in the humans, their compound eyes frequently turning toward them. That evening, at the formal reception, a Vexnar representative approached Mercer as he stood admiring an alien sculpture. Earth's ascension is most unexpected. The Vexnar clicked through its translator. Your kind achieved faster than light travel, rather. Suddenly, Mercer smiled his practiced closed-lip smile. We were as surprised as anyone. Sometimes necessity drives innovation in unexpected ways. Indeed, we look forward to establishing borders near your territory. The unclaimed systems between our spaces could benefit from clarity of ownership. It was a test, a small provocation to gauge human response to territorial pressure. Mercer had been briefed about this exact scenario. We value clarity too, Mercer replied mildly. Earth believes borders should be established through mutual agreement and respect for historical exploration patterns. We've prepared some preliminary suggestions based on the standard council protocols for new members. The Vexnar's antennae twitched, a sign of surprise according to their briefings. It had expected either aggression or submission, not well-informed diplomatic maneuvering. Most prepared of you. It clicked before moving away. Later that night, Zartul pulled Mercer aside in a quiet corner. Ambassador, a word of friendly advice, the alien said in low tones. The council can be predatory toward new species. Many will. Test your boundaries, especially those who value strength. The Vexnar particularly. Thank you for your concern, Mercer replied. We're still learning the complexities of interspecies relations. Zartul nodded his elongated head. You're doing well for newcomers. Just remember, in the galaxy, perception shapes reality. How others perceive you determines your place. We'll keep that in mind, Mercer said, thinking how ironic it was to receive this warning. Back in their quarters, Mercer shared the conversation with his team. They still see us as prey, he said. Zartul was warning us, but he has no idea we're counting on that misconception. Commander Reeves nodded as she checked the encrypted channel to Earth. Admiral Carter reports the Vexnar have already sent scout ships to test our border defenses. They turned away when challenged, but clearly expected us to call for council assistance. Perfect, Mercer said. As long as they see us as diplomatic herbivores instead of the apex predators we are, we have the advantage. Earth has time to build our position, establish alliances, and prepare defenses. He looked around at his team. The galaxy thinks they're dealing with sheep. They have no idea they've invited wolves to the table. And that's exactly how we'll keep it until the day they need our teeth. 6 months passed since humans joined the Galactic Council. The Earth delegation settled into their offices on Nexus Prime, becoming a familiar sight in the grand halls of galactic politics. Ambassador Mercer's team had gained a reputation for being helpful, reasonable, and above all, non-threatening. Dr. Alice Kendrick sat in her lab on the lower level of the human embassy, analyzing data on her tablet. As the delegation's xenobiologist, she had been collecting information on every species in the council. Her current project focused on predator-prey relationships among intelligent species. This is fascinating, she muttered to herself, scrolling through her findings. We're the only omnivores with predatory traits who actively disguise those traits. The door slid open, and Lieutenant Paul Winters entered. Unlike most of the delegation, Winters was a Special Forces operative, though his credentials listed him as a security consultant. Doctor, he nodded. Director Hoffman wants your latest report. He's meeting with the ambassador in 30 minutes. Kendrick handed him the tablet. Tell him the pattern is consistent across all 27 species. They're either open about their predatory nature or don't have one. No other species is hiding what they are like we are. Winters glanced at the data. That's an advantage we need to keep. Across the station in the Galactic Library, A tall, reptilian figure watched a human child who was visiting with her parents. The figure, Crenshaw of the Draconis, narrowed his vertical pupils as the child laughed, briefly showing her teeth before her parents quietly reminded her to keep her mouth closed. Crenshaw made a note in his personal device. That was the third time he had observed humans hiding natural behaviors. As a warrior from a proudly predatory species, he found this behavior suspicious. In the main council chamber, Ambassador Mercer listened as representatives from the Pelleran Alliance offered humans protection and technological assistance in exchange for mining rights in 3 uninhabited systems near Earth. The human worlds would benefit greatly from our defensive shield technology, the Pelleran representative said, especially given your species' peaceful nature. Mercer noted how the alien emphasized those last words. 6 different species had approached humans with similar offers in the past month alone, all seeing Earth as easy prey for one-sided deals. We're grateful for your generous offer, Mercer replied, with his practiced, gentle smile. Our analysis team will review the proposal thoroughly. Later that day, an urgent message arrived from Admiral Carter. Mercer gathered his senior staff in the secure room. The Vex-Nar have attacked our research outpost in the Epsilon system, Mercer announced gravely. 3 ships opened fire without warning. Commander Reeves frowned. Casualties? None. The science team had advanced warning and evacuated to the hidden bunkers. Director Gregory Hoffman, head of Human Intelligence Operations, pulled up a tactical display. The Vex-Nar will expect us to run crying to the Council for protection. That's what a herbivore species would do. Mercer nodded. And what do we do instead? Lieutenant Winters stepped forward. I have a team ready. We can deploy from the supposedly unarmed supply ship that's scheduled for a routine delivery to Epsilon tomorrow. Make it happen, Mercer ordered. But remember, this operation cannot reveal our true capabilities. Make it look like luck, not skill. 2 days later, news spread throughout Nexus Prime. A strange stellar phenomenon had destroyed 3 Vex-Nar ships near the human outpost in Epsilon. Remarkably, the human scientists had evacuated just hours before, having detected unusual solar readings with their atmospheric research equipment. In the council chamber, the Vex-Nar representative demanded an investigation. This convenient solar event requires explanation, it clicked angrily. The humans must have weapons they have not declared. Ambassador Alara Williams, recently assigned to the Security Council, responded with apparent confusion. Weapons? Our research station was studying agricultural adaptation in variable gravity. We were fortunate that our atmospheric sensors detected the solar disturbance in time. She displayed data charts showing the solar readings that had prompted evacuation. We're scientists, not soldiers. The Council ruled the incident an unfortunate natural disaster. The human delegation expressed sadness for the lost Vex-Nar lives, even offering to help design better early warning systems for solar events. Back in the secure room, Williams grinned at Lieutenant Winters. Your team did excellent work. The evidence was perfect. Winters nodded. The Vex-Nar ships never knew what hit them. Their wrecks show all the signs of a focused solar flare, not weapons fire. Director Hoffman entered with a concerned expression. We have a problem. The Draconis warrior Crenshaw has been collecting information on humans. He's noticed patterns in our behavior that don't match our presented image. Mercer frowned. How comprehensive is his investigation? He's been watching us for months. He recently accessed the station's medical database looking for human physiological data. Dr. Kendrick looked up sharply. Did he find anything revealing? Our people caught it in time and fed him altered data, but he's persistent. Mercer paced the room. We need to control this situation. It's too early for the galaxy to know what humans really are. I have an idea, Commander Reeves said. What if we strategically reveal small capabilities? Nothing that shows our full potential, but enough to explain away the inconsistencies Crenshaw has noticed. Mercer considered this. A controlled revelation to satisfy curiosity without exposing our true nature. What did you have in mind? The upcoming physical competition for the station's security teams. We enter a human team, perform well but not suspiciously well, and show that we're somewhat stronger than we've let on, but still within reasonable parameters. The plan was set in motion. A week later, the human security team participated in the station's physical competition. They carefully placed 4th out of 20 teams, demonstrating good but not exceptional strength and endurance. Crenshaw watched from the observation deck, his scaled face unreadable. The following day, an explosion rocked a distant section of Nexus Prime. A diplomatic vessel had been attacked while docking. Emergency alerts blared throughout the station. Ambassador Mercer and Commander Reeves were meeting with Zartul when the explosion occurred. "That's in the blue sector," Zartul said, his forearms moving in agitation. "There are 16 species with embassies there." Without hesitation, Commander Reeves activated her communicator. "This is Commander Reeves. I need all human medical personnel and security staff to blue sector immediately. Bring emergency supplies." Mercer gave her a warning glance, but she shook her head slightly. "This is necessary," she whispered. When they arrived at the disaster site, chaos reigned. Several alien species were injured, some trapped under debris. The station's emergency teams were overwhelmed. The humans moved with quick efficiency, showing more strength and speed than they had previously revealed as they lifted debris and treated the wounded. Commander Reeves organized the rescue effort with military precision, though she was careful to frame it as quick thinking rather than trained response. From across the room, Crenshaw watched the humans work. His eyes narrowed as he saw a human woman lift a metal beam that should have been too heavy for her supposed physiology. Later, as the crisis subsided, Ambassador Mercer found Crenshaw staring at him. "Your people performed unexpectedly well today," the reptilian said. Mercer gave a modest shrug. "Crisis brings out hidden strengths in everyone. We're just glad we could help." "Indeed." Crenshaw's tongue flicked out briefly. "It seems humans have many hidden strengths." As the Draconis walked away, Mercer knew their carefully constructed facade had just developed its first significant crack. The galaxy was beginning to see glimpses of the predators behind the diplomatic masks, and somewhere in the darkness between stars, Admiral Carter's fleet continued its silent watch, weapons ready but disguised, waiting for the day when humans would no longer need to hide what they truly were. Tension filled the air in the Galactic Council's main chamber. Representatives from the Vexnar and Draconis species sat on opposite sides, their postures rigid, with barely contained hostility. 3 days of failed negotiations had brought them to the brink of open conflict over disputed territory in the Perseus Arm. Council Chairperson Beltan raised all 6 of her slender appendages for silence. "This dispute threatens the peace of our galactic community. We require neutral mediation." Her large eyes turned toward the human delegation. "The Council requests Earth's assistance in this matter." Ambassador Alara Williams stood. After 6 weeks as human representative to the Security Council, she had earned a reputation for finding compromise where none seemed possible. This perfectly served the human strategy of appearing helpful and non-threatening. "Earth is honored to serve," Williams said, careful to keep her posture submissive and her smile closed. "We propose hosting the negotiations on our diplomatic vessel, the Olive Branch, neutral ground away from the Council but under its authority." The chamber buzzed with discussion. Finally, both the Vexnar and Draconis agreed to the arrangement. Later, in the secure briefing room, Williams met with Captain Laura Mitchell, commander of the Olive Branch, and Chief Engineer Ryan Sullivan. "Are we prepared for this?" Williams asked. Captain Mitchell nodded. "The Olive Branch appears completely unarmed to their scanners. Sullivan's team has outdone themselves." Sullivan grinned. "The weapon systems are entirely hidden within the hull structure. Even if they conducted an internal inspection, they'd need to tear apart the molecular bonding of the interior walls to find the pulse cannons." "What about our security concerns?" Williams asked. "The Vexnar still suspect us after the Epsilon incident." "We've prepared for that," Mitchell said. "My crew knows to maintain the facade. Any special capabilities will be explained as specialized training or technological assistance. Nothing that suggests natural human advantages." 2 days later, The Olive Branch departed Nexus Prime with the negotiation parties aboard. The ship's design emphasized openness and transparency, with large windows and communal spaces. Captain Mitchell had ordered her crew to be gracious hosts while keeping watchful eyes on their guests. The Vexnar delegation was led by Counselor Vex Traal, whose gleaming carapace reflected the ship's lights as he inspected the conference room. "Your vessel is adequate," he clicked through his translator. "Though curiously designed for a species that values defense. We value communication more than defense," Captain Mitchell replied smoothly. "The Olive Branch serves as a meeting place first, a vessel second." Crenshaw, representing the Draconis, flicked his tongue thoughtfully as he studied the human crew moving about their duties. His suspicions had grown since the explosion incident on Nexus Prime. The negotiations began poorly. Both sides made extreme demands, knowing they would be rejected. Ambassador Williams demonstrated patience and diplomatic skill, finding small points of agreement while deferring larger disputes. On the third day, as they entered the neutral space near the disputed territory, sensors detected approaching ships. "Captain," the navigation officer called out, "3 vessels on intercept course. They're not responding to hails and their configuration doesn't match any council species." Mitchell frowned. This wasn't part of the plan. "Shields up, inform our guests of the situation." In the conference room, Williams was guiding the parties through a detailed mapping exercise when Mitchell's message arrived. "Distinguished representatives," Williams announced calmly, "we have unidentified vessels approaching. For safety, we request you remain in this secure area while our crew investigates." Counselor Vex Traal's antennae twitched. "You expect us to trust our safety to humans? Your kind has no defensive capability." Before Williams could respond, the ship shuddered violently. Emergency lights activated as the artificial gravity fluctuated. "We've been hit," reported Mitchell's voice over the intercom. "Unknown weapons technology. They're attempting to board." Through the lower docking bay, Williams maintained her composure. "Please stay calm. Our security protocols will—" Another violent shudder cut her off as the ship's power flickered. The conference room door slammed shut and locked automatically, sealing Williams in with the Vexnar and Draconis delegations. "Your security protocols appear inadequate," Crenshaw observed dryly. Outside in the corridor, Captain Mitchell assessed the situation. The attackers had breached the lower deck. Ship scans identified them as mercenaries of various species, heavily armed and moving with military precision. "Sullivan," she called over her secure channel. "Status of our special features?" "Ready on your command," the chief engineer replied, "but using them will reveal capabilities we've kept hidden." Mitchell's expression hardened. "The ambassador and alien dignitaries are trapped with hostiles boarding. Protocol Apex is now active." Throughout the ship, select human crew members received the coded alert. In various compartments, hidden panels slid open, revealing advanced weapons. Crew members moved with sudden speed and precision that contrasted sharply with their previous carefully measured movements. On the lower deck, 6 armed mercenaries moved toward the ship's core. They encountered 4 human security officers who had appeared to be simple maintenance workers moments before. "Surrender your vessel," demanded the lead mercenary, a scarred Zentari with cybernetic enhancements. The humans didn't reply. Instead, they moved with startling speed, neutralizing all 6 attackers in less than 12 seconds. Their movements were fluid, precise, and lethal, nothing like the careful, restrained motions they had displayed before. In the sealed conference room, the sounds of combat echoed through the walls. Ambassador Williams maintained her diplomatic facade, though internally she knew the operation had changed. Protocol Apex meant they were no longer hiding their capabilities. "Your ship is under attack, yet you seem unconcerned," Vex Traal observed, his compound eyes fixed on Williams. "I have faith in our crew," she replied simply. Suddenly, the door slid open. 2 human security officers stood there, weapons ready, but held casually at their sides. "Ambassador, the situation is contained," one reported. "Captain Mitchell requests you and the delegates proceed to the emergency shelter on Deck 3. As they moved through the corridors, Vextral and Crenshaw witnessed the aftermath of the combat. The mercenaries had been efficiently neutralized by what was supposed to be a lightly armed diplomatic crew. In one corridor, they passed Chief Engineer Sullivan directing repairs. He was single-handedly holding a support beam that should have required mechanical assistance for a species of human physiology. Crenshaw's eyes narrowed at this display of strength. The Vexnar delegation's antennae twitched in agitated patterns. The ship's security center, Captain Mitchell interrogated the captured leader of the attackers. "Who sent you?" she demanded, all pretense of human gentleness gone from her voice. The mercenary laughed. "You don't even know what's coming. They've returned after thousands of years. The harvesters are awakening, and this galaxy is their feeding ground." Outside in the corridor, Counselor Vexistral had slipped away from the group and accessed a computer terminal. His specialized appendages worked quickly to bypass security and access human databases. What he found confirmed his suspicions. Humans were not the gentle herbivores they pretended to be. Their physiology, their history, their very evolution was that of apex predators. The diplomatic masks they wore concealed teeth, designed for tearing flesh. As the olive branch limped back toward Nexus Prime, the facade had begun to crack. In defending against the unexpected attack, humans had revealed glimpses of their true nature. And in the secure communications room, Ambassador Williams sent an encrypted message to Earth. "Protocol Apex partially activated. The veil begins to lift. Prepare for Phase 4. The emergency meeting of the Earth Defense Council lasted 5 hours. In an underground facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, military and political leaders gathered around a large holographic display showing the position of every human ship in the galaxy. General Daniel Morris stood at the head of the table, his weathered face grim as he addressed the council. "The Olive Branch incident has accelerated our timeline," he said. "The Vexnar now suspect our true nature, and according to our intelligence, they're preparing to act on that knowledge." President Carolyn Foster nodded. "Ambassador Williams reports that Counselor Vexistral has been meeting with representatives from 4 other species, all with significant military capabilities. They're forming a coalition against us," Morris confirmed. "Our diplomatic strategy of appearing harmless has bought us 3 years of preparation, but that advantage is ending." Professor Olivia Blackwell, specialist in xenopsychology, pulled up data on the main screen. "My team has completed psychological profiles of all Council species. The Vexnar view deception as the ultimate crime. They will frame our strategy as a threat to the entire galactic community." President Foster turned to Admiral William Carter, who had joined via secure holographic link from his flagship in orbit around Saturn. "Admiral, what's the status of our fleet?" Carter's hologram flickered slightly before stabilizing. "The revealed vessels are positioned as ordered. The hidden fleet stands ready. If the Vexnar attack as we predict, we can activate our defense network immediately." "And the intelligence about these harvesters mentioned by the mercenary?" asked Foster. "Professor." Blackwell stepped forward again. "We've found references in the archives of 12 different species. They all describe a predatory race that appears every few thousand years to harvest intelligent life. Most species dismiss it as myth, but the evidence suggests they're real and returning." 2 days later, as dawn broke over the human embassy, on Nexus Prime, sensors detected multiple ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel. The Vexnar battle fleet had arrived, led by Grand Admiral Zeklor's massive command ship. Without warning or declaration, the Vexnar ships opened fire on 3 human colonies in neighboring systems. The attacks were precisely coordinated, designed, to overwhelm the supposedly minimal human defenses before Council peacekeepers could respond. On Nexus Prime, Ambassador Mercer was summoned to an emergency council session. As he entered the chamber, he felt the hostile stares of many species, particularly the Vexnar delegation. Council Chairperson Beltan's voice was heavy with concern. "Ambassador Mercer, we have received reports of Vexnar attacks on human settlements. The Council is prepared to dispatch peacekeepers to your defense." Mercer stood calmly at the podium. For the first time since humans had joined the Council, he allowed his smile to show his teeth. That won't be necessary, he said, his voice carrying throughout the chamber. Earth has the situation under control. Counselor Vextral rose from his seat, his carapace gleaming under the chamber lights. Humans have deceived this council. They are not the peaceful herbivores they pretend to be. They are predators hiding their nature, gathering intelligence while appearing harmless. Murmurs spread through the chamber as Mercer nodded slowly. It is true that we have not revealed our full capabilities, he acknowledged. But perhaps you should turn your attention to the tactical displays. The main screen in the council chamber switched to a live feed from the contested systems. The Vexenar attack fleet had surrounded the human colonies, but instead of finding helpless targets, they had encountered something unexpected. Massive human warships decloaked around each colony. Weapon systems far beyond what the Council believed humans possessed activated with devastating precision. The Vexenar fleet, caught by surprise, began to retreat. "This is Admiral William Carter of the Earth Defense Force," announced a voice over the Council's communication system. "The unprovoked attack on our colonies has been neutralized. We demand the immediate surrender of all Vexenar vessels." The Council chamber erupted in chaos. Species that had believed humans to be weak now watched in shock as Earth's true military might was revealed. Grand Admiral Zeklor's image appeared on the screen, his compound eyes flashing with rage. "The humans have hidden their predatory nature to infiltrate our alliance. They cannot be trusted." Ambassador Mercer stepped forward again. "We did not hide our nature out of malice, but caution. Earth's history is filled with conflict. When we discovered we were not alone in the universe, we chose to learn before revealing our full capabilities." The chamber grew quiet as Mercer continued. "Humanity evolved as apex predators on a harsh world. We learned to cooperate despite our predatory instincts. We developed diplomacy not because we are weak, but because we understand the cost of war better than most." Professor Blackwell, who had accompanied Mercer to the session, activated her datapad. Images appeared on the Council screens showing human history, both its conflicts and its achievements. "We have studied every species in this Council," she explained. "We know which are predators and which are prey. But humans are unique. We can be either, by choice." Zartul, who had been silent until now, rose to speak. "Why maintain this deception for so long? What purpose did it serve?" Mercer's expression grew serious. "Because something worse is coming. The mercenaries who attacked our diplomatic vessel were advanced scouts for an ancient threat. The harvesters are returning, and the galaxy is unprepared." Before he could continue, emergency alerts blared throughout the chamber. The main display switched to show a massive energy signature at the edge of charted space. "What is that?" demanded several council members at once. Grand Admiral Zeklor, still visible on a secondary screen, received information from his fleet. "Impossible," he whispered. "The readings show hundreds of ships, larger than any we've encountered." A new signal cut through all communications channels. The screens in the council chamber flickered and then displayed a figure unlike any species known to the council. Its form was vaguely insectoid but with an unsettling, almost liquid quality to its movements. "Children of the stars," it spoke in a voice that seemed to bypass the translators and speak directly to the mind. "Your harvester queen returns. Your way. Civilizations have grown and multiplied in our absence. The harvest will be bountiful." The transmission ended, leaving stunned silence in the council chamber. Mercer turned to address the representatives. "This is why we concealed our true nature. Earth discovered references to the harvesters 3 years ago in ancient archives. We knew the galaxy would need to unite against this threat, but we also knew we would need time to prepare." He brought up tactical displays showing human fleet movements. "While appearing peaceful, we have been establishing defensive positions throughout Council space. Our ships are currently moving to intercept the Harvester fleet." The Council representatives looked at each other in confusion and fear. The predatory species like the Vexenar and Draconis seemed particularly shaken, their natural confidence faltering in the face of a superior predator. Mercer's voice grew stronger. "The time for deception is over. Humanity stands ready to defend not just Earth but all Council worlds. We are apex predators, yes, but we choose to be protectors. We ask the Council to stand with us. As the gravity of the situation became clear, the chamber that had been filled with accusations against humans now fell silent with new understanding. The mask had been removed, revealing not the enemy they feared, but perhaps the ally they needed most. And at the edge of Council space, Admiral Carter's fleet moved into formation, predators no longer disguised as diplomats, but openly standing as defenders against the darkness between stars. The Harvester fleet moved through space like a plague of locusts, consuming everything in its path. 3 outer colonies belonging to different Council species had already fallen silent. The reports that came back were horrifying. Entire populations taken, planetary resources stripped. On Nexus Prime, the Council chamber had transformed into a war room. Representatives from all 28 species gathered around a massive tactical display, showing the advancing Harvester armada. "Their ships are unlike anything we've encountered," said a Pelleran scientist. "They absorb energy weapons and repair physical damage within minutes." Council Chairperson Beltan looked desperately at the assembled representatives. "We must unite our forces. This threat targets all of us equally." But unity proved difficult. Old rivalries and fresh distrust, particularly toward humans, prevented a coordinated response. The Vexnar delegation refused to place their ships under joint command. 3 other species followed their example. Ambassador Mercer watched the arguments with growing frustration. Time was running out while the Council debated protocols and chain of command. A side door opened, and President Carolyn Foster entered the chamber, flanked by General Morris and Professor Blackwell. As Earth's leader stepped forward, the room fell silent. "Distinguished representatives," Foster began, her voice calm but commanding. "While we debate the Harvester's advance, Earth will not wait for consensus while lives are lost." She nodded to Professor Blackwell, who activated a holographic display. It showed detailed scans of Harvester biology and ship design. "Humans have known about the Harvesters for 3 years," Foster revealed. "We found references in ancient ruins on Mars, left by a species that visited Earth millennia ago. They warned that the Harvesters return every 5,000 years to Kull-developed civilizations." Shock spread through the chamber. Zartul stood up, his forearms gesturing in agitation. "You kept this information secret while preparing only your own defenses?" "No," General Morris stepped forward. "We prepared defenses for the entire galaxy." The display changed to show hundreds of small satellites positioned throughout Council space. "These are not research stations as we claimed," Morris explained. "They are components of a detection and defense network designed to track and counter Harvester technology." President Foster addressed the Council directly. "We hid our true nature because we needed time. If the galaxy had known humans were apex, predators with advanced military capabilities, you would have united against us instead of the real threat." The truth of her words silenced objections. The Vexnar representative clicked his mandibles together in reluctant acknowledgement. "The time for secrets is over," Foster continued. "Admiral Carter's fleet has engaged the first wave of Harvesters near the Arcturus system. But they cannot hold for long without reinforcements." On the main display, live footage showed human vessels fighting against bizarre organic-looking Harvester ships. The human fleet moved with surprising coordination, using tactics that confused the Harvester vessels. "Commander Jason Garcia leads our Special Forces team embedded with the fleet," General Morris explained. "They've studied Harvester patterns and developed countermeasures." The screen split to show a human soldier in advanced combat armor. Commander Garcia's face was grim as he reported from the battlefront. "We've identified their weakness," he said. "The Harvesters operate on a hive mind controlled by their queen. Her ship is at the center of their formation, protected by layers of escorts. If we can neutralize the queen, the entire fleet will become disorganized." Council Chairperson Beltan leaned forward. "How can we help?" President Foster unfolded a detailed battle plan. "We need a joint attack force. Human ships will create the opening, but we need the unique capabilities of other species to exploit it." For the first time, the AudioBook Representatives saw the full extent of human military doctrine, not as a threat to them but as their potential salvation. The Draconis energy weapons can penetrate their outer defenses, Foster explained. Pelleran's shield technology can protect the strike force long enough to approach. Vexenar targeting systems can find the weak points our scientists have identified. One by one, species began to offer their strengths. The combined tactical display showed a plan coming together, a joint operation unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. As the Council organized its forces, Admiral Carter's voice came through on the command channel. "We can't hold much longer. The Harvesters have adapted to our initial tactics." President Foster looked to the Council. "It's time to decide. Do we stand together or fall divided?" The Council chamber, so recently filled with accusations against humans, now looked to Earth's leaders for guidance. The predators of the galaxy recognized something in humans they had never expected. Apex predators who hunted not for domination, but for protection. "The combined fleet will follow Admiral Carter's coordination," Beltan announced. "All Council species with combat capabilities will contribute to the defense." 3 days later, the largest fleet ever assembled in the galaxies. History moved to intercept the Harvester Armada. At its center were the ships of Earth, no longer disguised as research vessels but showing their true power. On the command deck of his flagship, Admiral Carter watched as vessels from 20 different species moved into formation around his fleet. "All ships report ready, Admiral," his communications officer announced. "The Council fleet awaits your orders." Carter nodded, his eyes fixed on the approaching enemy. Commence Operation Apex Predator. The battle that followed would be remembered for generations. Human vessels led the charge, drawing harvester fire while shields provided by Pelleran technology absorbed impossible amounts of damage. Draconis energy weapons carved paths through the harvester escorts, creating openings that Vexenar precision strikes widened. At the critical moment, Commander Garcia's Special Forces team, call sign Predator Team, launched from a human carrier in specialized assault craft. They navigated through the chaos of battle with impossible precision, heading directly for the Queen's vessel. "We're approaching the target," Garcia reported as his team's ships evaded tentacle-like appendages reaching from the massive central harvester ship. Preparing for boarding action. The Council representatives watched from Nexus Prime as the small human vessels attached themselves to the Queen's ship like parasites. Garcia and his team cut their way inside, moving with a speed and aggression that shocked even the predatory species of the Council. "Humans fight like nothing I've ever seen," Crenshaw whispered, watching the helmet camera feeds. "They don't just have weapons, they are weapons." Inside the Queen's ship, Garcia's team fought through bizarre organic corridors against harvester defenders. The aliens were strong, but the humans moved with a lethal grace born from thousands of years of evolution as pursuit predators. "Target located," Garcia announced as they reached the central chamber. "Initiating final phase." The screens went blank for several tense minutes. When they returned, Garcia stood in a cavernous room, the massive form of the Harvester Queen motionless. Behind him, "Queen neutralized," he reported simply, setting charges to ensure complete elimination. Throughout the galaxy, the Harvester ships suddenly stopped their coordinated attacks. Some began to drift aimlessly, others turned on each other in confusion. The Haobu combined fleet pressed its advantage, methodically eliminating the now disorganized enemy vessels. What had seemed an impossible threat just hours before was now being systematically dismantled. 3 weeks later, representatives from all Council species gathered for a historic ceremony. At the center of the chamber stood President Foster and the leaders of each species that had fought in the battle. "Today we sign a new galactic charter," Foster announced, "one that recognizes the strength in our diversity, predator and prey working together for mutual protection." She turned to the human delegation. "Humans will no longer hide what we are. We evolved as apex predators on a harsh world, but we learned that our greatest strength comes not from domination but cooperation." The Vexenar representative stepped forward. "We misjudged humans. We saw deception where there was strategy. We saw threat where there was protection. As the new charter was signed, Ambassador Mercer stood with Commander Reeves at the back of the chamber. "No more masks," Reeves said quietly. Mercer nodded, allowing himself a full smile for the first time in public, his predator's teeth visible for all to see. "No more masks. Now the galaxy knows what we truly are." "And what are we?" Reeves asked. Mercer watched as the species of the galaxy, predator and prey alike, united under a new understanding. "We are human," he said simply. "Apex predators who chose to be protectors. The galaxy needed teeth against the darkness, and now they know they have them." Outside the council chamber, the stars continued their eternal watch over a galaxy forever, changed not by conquest but by the revelation of humanity's true nature.